day to you and welcome to a fresh episode of the program, Last Week in Nigeria. On this program, we'll make it a one-stop shop for you to assess the news as reported by national dailies officially in the previous week, last week in Nigeria. My name is Emmanuel Oriowo. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media handles at Last Week in Nigeria, on X, formerly Twitter, on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and not forgetting that the fact that we have a WhatsApp channel, all you need to do is to type at Last Week in Nigeria to access everything we bring to you on this program. Don't forget to go to our YouTube channel and subscribe, like, share, comment. Let people know that this is what happened last week in Nigeria. And on this program, we try as much as possible to let you know that it's a global platform where you have the opportunity to put your money where your mouth is. In other words, you can place your advertisements, products and services on this program to make sure you access the world in one breath. Let's ride this way on Last Week in Nigeria. Last week in Nigeria, it was reported, as I begin this way, that 2027 reactions trail articles planned support for Obi. That's the way the Matrix newspaper puts it. And we have this one by the Sunday Times. Last week in Nigeria, 6 billion naira contract fraud, anxiety in NSC DC as presidency orders probe. Contractors, top officers are being quizzed on this particular matter, as reported last week in Nigeria by the Sunday Times. The Nation newspaper is the next. We have this one. It says, minimum wage, government may shift ground on 48,000 naira. Of course, last week in Nigeria, we also heard that the government was able to present 54,000 naira as the negotiation continues. Let's see what will happen at the end of the day. For civil servants, and sometimes you get to wonder, what's the percentage of the civil servants using that to measure the skill? But the private sector, some of them are saying that 54,000 naira, it's a benchmark to go with. Let's see how that pans out if they're able to harmonize all of this so that we can move forward. Last week in Nigeria, also, we had it in the news. This day newspaper brings it top of the nameplate, citing refinery capacity to meet West Africa's demand. Dangote says Nigeria won't need to import petrol by June. He promised us that the refinery will be hitting the ground running in December. You know the month you are now. We're yet to see anything. Even the Port Harcourt refinery, where we were told that everything is on ground, or was on ground, to make sure it hit the grounds running. All are still waiting. For what? Who knows? Below the nameplate of this day newspaper, we have this one. It says, issue executive order for state police as constitution amendment process continues. Afenifere tells TUNUBI. The Punch on Sunday reported last week in Nigeria. It says 2027 FG presidency dismissed Atiku Obi planned alliance. And also last week in Nigeria, Nigerians at mercy of boreholes as water corporations facilities become moribund. That's the way the Business Sunday puts it. The Sunday Telegraph says, Wike allies unhappy in APC government. Nigerians to TUNUBI swap ministers, portfolios, sack others. That's the way the Sunday leadership brought the story. Daily Sun newspaper says, NLC, TUC insist on living wage, says no going back on demand. Of course, the government is saying away from the 40, now we're in the 50. Maybe we'll move to the 60. You know, it has to do with digits for Nigerians to understand what happens sometimes. Tension high as soldiers camp at Banex Plaza. That's the way the Abuja Enquirer captions that story. It happened last week in Nigeria. 2 years after, the way the Daily Trust newspaper captions it, it's saying 100 new air traffic controllers redundant. That's the way the Daily Trust captions the story. Of course, let's move to the Daily Times. It says, constitute committees to reconcile aggrieved APC member. A lot of internal wrangling in the APC. The PDP also, they have their own fair share of it, but well, they call it politicking. And you want to ask yourself, where does the party supremacy cliche, where does it lie? Because as an individual, you're joining the political party, you understand the modus operandi of the political party. When the party wants something else, it's on the other side of you. How do you sit on that? Well, it's party affairs, the way they call it. We can always solve it. We have our internal mechanisms to take care of that. You recall that back in Ondo State, we have this kind of internal issues going on with the APC, considering the fact that the incumbent governor, after taking over from the former governor, Arakuni Rotimi Odunayo Akeredolu, he became the executive governor, talking about Lucky Aiyedatiwa. After the APC primaries, you recall that one of the aspirants who is still going to court and asking for a redress in the person of Senator Jimoh Ibrahim, who is the current sitting senator representing Ondo South Senatorial District, is in the court and is asking for a redress using the instrumentality of the judiciary to seek a redress, which is okay. But you want to ask yourself, where are the other aspirants? Have they moved on? Okay, maybe the internal party mechanism should have taken care of Jimoh Ibrahim, but well, he's asking for his own terms and conditions. Elders in the state have called him to a roundtable discussion, and he has also told them that, look, hey, I am saying that election came up with a lot of fraud. So that has to do with the party things. Just like I said, it's a party affair. Still very much on last week in Nigeria. The Guardian newspaper has this one, and it says, further hike anticipated as inflation rates, interest rates converge above 30%. Of course, we all know it's at 33.3% already, so it's a blaring figure. How do we go about this? The Vanguard newspaper says, manufacturers wail as unsold goods pile up in warehouses. FG in dilemma as inflation spikes meal budget to 540 billion naira. That's the way the Guardian newspaper captioned it last week in Nigeria. The blueprint is the next, and we have this one. It says, judges stand for good on earth, mustn't bow to public opinion, says CJA. A lot of forum shopping in most court cases that you get to hear about, and you wonder, where is the ethics? Where is the conscience? Well, some judges are already getting their full dose of their discipline. Some cannot even rise in the next 2 years. The Punch newspaper, we have this one on the front page. It said, student loan, 1.2 million beneficiaries listed as scheme begins on Friday. Twilight of 1 year in office. The speed about the student loan that was promised has been hushed. The Business Day newspaper reported last week saying, manufacturers export ride, weaker naira to 9-year high. And the Daily Independent has this one that says, governor's absence stall negotiation as Labour rejects fresh 54,000 naira offer. Talking about the national minimum wage. That's the way the Daily Independent captions it. TUNUBI directs 47 ministers to showcase scorecards on the occasion of the first anniversary of his government. That was reported last week in Nigeria, and it was boldly on the front page of the Punch newspaper. The Leadership newspaper last week told us about 21 companies shutting down in Kano in the last 3 years. Hey, we want to say happy birthday to those who are a year older this month. And we wish you the best that you wish yourselves. That's a new segment on this program that we've introduced to celebrate people who are a year older, celebrities, professionals. Just wait for the slides as they come. Happy birthday to you all. All right, let's bring you some sporting stories just before we coast home. Finidi banks on Lookman. That was reported by Weekend Sporting Sun last week in Nigeria. And also for other sporting story, the game changer. Who is the game changer in this regard? How football latest hero Lookman found love in Bergamo. Well, Atalanta spent 211 million euros to win Europa. Well, that was reported by Punch Sports Extra last week in Nigeria. Well, on behalf of the entire production crew here, my name is Emmanuel Oriowo, asking you to join me next week for a fresh episode of the program. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media handles on X, formerly Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, WhatsApp, and of course, turn on the notification bell on our YouTube channel. Like, share, comment, and let's feel you. Let's do this together. It's the show that you love. At last week in Nigeria, Nigerians are connecting the dots. Let's do the connection here.